Hello everybody, Andy here again. Late to the party, what do I mean by that? Well, it's the whole world of computing and the internet generally. If you think about it, and something that I'm obviously interested in as I'm here, I've spoken about these sort of topics a bit in the past, and sort of just going through it, I think I read a couple of articles recently as well, and it got me thinking about the whole aspect of it. And how a lot of the old-fashioned companies are late to the party. If you go back to when even people like Microsoft and Apple started building computers, where are we, 20-30 years ago, I always remember I think that Microsoft had this ambition, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure people will, they had this ambition to put a personal computer into every home in the land, sort of thing. And I remember there was a quote from an IBM executive or something who said, oh, they'd be lucky to sell 5 of these things or something like that. And that illustrates my point exactly, is that all the old school people, all the traditional media companies, the big multinational companies, have failed to see the potential of computing generally, personal computing essentially, but especially the internet, which is the main thing nowadays. The internet is changing our lives more and more, literally every day, I think, and it's becoming more and more influential. But it's all the what I would call the new kids on the block that are running it. I've made a list of a couple of examples, but I mean, I said Microsoft and Apple have sort of kicked the ball off, but you go through it and you've got people like shopping. Let's take shopping as an example. Internet shopping now. When Amazon started, and they were one of the first sort of big companies to start up, they didn't do very well at all. It took a while for the ball to start rolling and for things to kick in, but now they have completely changed. I think their influence has completely changed the way that we now shop. So much shopping now is done online. I've seen figures that in the UK, for example, sort of billions of pounds are now spent online, and once again, certain people shot that down in flames a few years ago and said, oh, Amazon, they'll disappear, they won't be able to keep this up. They've changed the way we do that. eBay as well, to an extent as well, has changed things. Different type of shopping, I know, but even that's evolving. And with them has come, I know they bought them up, but PayPal, the whole way that people buy things online now, instead of using banks and things like that, you use this online system. We're bypassing the banks as well, we're bypassing the shops. Music, look at Napster. How did Napster, one of the most amazing changes in the whole face of music was started by Napster. And my main point with all of these people is that they were all started by youngsters, generally. All started by youngsters who realised the potential, who the new kids on the block, as I said, they come in, fresh faces, didn't have the old sort of stereotypical business way of doing things. They came in completely new aura about them. You look at the sort of Steve Jobs of this world, and they turn up in their sandals and their shorts to work, none of the stuffy sort of shirt and collar and ties and the old bowler hats from years and years ago, that sort of city gent type of character. They've come in a completely new idea, which is what you need in lots of these things. They come in with completely new ideas, fresh thoughts, no baggage as such. They just come in and change things. Other things, I said shopping, TV. Well, there you go, TV, YouTube. Look how YouTube's changing TV. I think it's changing it a lot. We've now got television companies, is it that Direct TV 101, the Fizz thing that's come on in the USA, certainly. I know it's just like a public access channel, I believe it is, but it's a start, isn't it? They now realise that this sort of site, YouTube, is real competition. I've made videos, and I've seen loads of other videos from other people who are saying that they watch YouTube now. It's their television. We used to sit in front of the television years ago. Now we don't. You sit in front of your PC at home and you watch people on YouTube. It's far more entertaining generally. There's far more of what you want to see as an individual. There's so much choice there. I know YouTube's not the only site, there are others as well. Look at record companies. MySpace has completely changed the way that record companies now look for talent, for new talent, for the way that bands promote their music generally. Bands have become popular purely because of their MySpace pages, and the record companies that come along afterwards. They're all playing catch up now, aren't they? Another one I've got written down here is travel. As a company, I think they were a UK company, lastminute.com, who started up. Once again, they went through bad times initially, one of the first people, but they've changed the way that people book travel now. So much travelling is done online. The old traditional holiday companies, especially here in the UK, are really suffering now because everyone's doing all their booking online. I've done it myself. I've booked holidays in Europe. I've booked the planes and the flights. I've booked the hire cars. I've booked the properties that I wanted to rent and searched them online. I've done the whole thing myself. I haven't needed any sort of agents to do that, and it saved me money as well. So, and that's another thing that you find with all these internet companies, they're saving money. The trouble is that all the existing media companies, the existing multinational companies, are being left behind, and they're playing catch up, and they don't like it. We've seen problems. I know there's this whole internet sort of net recognition sort of thing, or whatever it's called, I can't remember now, in the US, where the cable TV, the cable and the phone companies are trying to influence the way that governments do things because they've been left behind. It's damaging their profits. It's damaging the way that they go about. They've got shareholders to deal with, pensions and all these sort of things, so many people to look after. The new companies have got that because of the way they've evolved, but they've got a completely new way of looking at things. As I said, it's a new touch, new kids on the block with different attitudes, and I think this is good. We've got a new internet bubble going on. We have to be careful. I don't invest in these things, but people have to be careful that we don't get too carried away. But that's the point I was going to make, is that I'm proud of the fact that all these new companies, they're all new people. It's a new broom's come in and flown away all the old stuffy businessmen, which is always a good thing, you know. Well, they've got their place, they do their thing. But my point basically was that most of the internet and the way that the world is being changed now is all being done by younger people with different attitudes, different ways of looking at things, and I don't think people realise the way that the internet and computing, or personal computing generally, has actually changed the way that we live things, live life. I've got another one down here about phone calls, and the way that Skype or Skype, whatever you pronounce it, is changing the way that we deal with phone calls as well. Another reason why the telecom companies don't like what's going on. We're getting into their way of life as well, and a lot of these things that we find on the internet are free, and we can get things for free because the community aspect of it, people share their talents, they share their knowledge like they do on YouTube, but you can always find downloaded software which is legal. People are quite happily letting you use it. They're doing it because they're developing it for their own ends, so why not? So anyway, I just thought I'd bring that into the public viewing. I'm sure you are very well aware of that anyway, but it's just something that sort of came to mind and has evolved in my sort of brain over a while. You just sort of get this sudden realisation just how much, especially when you start listing it down, actually you suddenly realise just how much these sort of things have changed because of the input of the younger people. As I've always said about YouTube itself, there's a lot of talent out there. There's a lot of people on YouTube who could change the world. I know it sounds enormous and a bit of a powerful statement, but they've got the potential. Even if they only change it in a little way, it would soon build up. As I said, a lot of these sites only start up small and they gradually grow and grow and grow, and we've seen sort of the takeovers. That's another point. The multinationals now are coming in. We've got people like News International buying MySpace, and I think they've got a very good deal there actually. They've done well. Other people buying up things. That's why I was quite pleased that it was Google that bought YouTube and not somebody else, instead of a TV company or something. But maybe it's only a matter of time. They've still got a lot of clout, but their clout is waning, you know. That the new kids on the block are taking over, I think, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Anyway, enough from me. Thanks for your time. Goodbye.